What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time for the Friday weather update for Friday, February 16th, 2024. If this is the first time you've clicked on one of my videos and you're new to the channel, welcome to my channel. This is where we do the daily weather update on short-term weather, and sometimes we do get into the longer ranges and talk about weather records and extreme events all around the world. But most times we do focus on the United States, and today we're going to focus on the short term between today and maybe early next week, as we do have to talk about this guy right here that you see on satellite, this storm system that is going to provide snow for portions of the mid-Atlantic. So if you're new, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. You can see on the satellite picture, there is a storm system that is moving through the Ohio Valley right now. It's going to move into the mid-Atlantic tonight. It's going to produce snowfall. There's also cloud cover that is increasing in the south from the southern jet. It's going to be a wet weekend across portions of the Gulf Coast, especially in Florida. And you also see on the west coast, we do have a storm system that's entering the picture. It's the first of several storm systems for you. Taking a look at the latest radar picture, you can see we have showers across the Gulf Coast. That's going to fill in more for Florida as we head into the weekend. You can also see we have showers that are starting to enter the picture in Oregon and Northern California. Then we have our main area of precipitation across portions of the Ohio Valley, back into St. Louis even, and portions of Illinois, Indiana. And then if you look really closely, there's something I want to draw to your attention because we're going to mention it several times. You see this heavier band of snowfall that has set up northeast of Columbus through to just north of Wheeling, West Virginia. That's the wildcard band we're going to have to watch as we head into tonight. More on that when we get to the models. Taking a look at the latest hazards from the National Weather Service, you can see there have been some changes now. And that changes, there's the addition of not only winter weather advisories down in southeast Pennsylvania, but there has been an upgrade to winter storm warnings. Why? Well, let's check this out. You can see the winter storm warnings are now in effect for southeast Pennsylvania for the likelihood of 4 to 6 inches of snow. There is also winter storm warning that is up across portions of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 3 to 6 inches of snow. And then as you get back across the Laurel Highlands and the Allegheny Mountains in Pennsylvania, and then down even into portions of Northern Virginia and West Virginia, those mountain regions, you could see anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow to maybe upwards of 8 inches of snow. All right, moving on, taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, we'll do day 1 through 3 precipitation. I'm in a bit disagreement here with where they placed the heavier precipitation amounts across the mid-Atlantic. I think that should be lifted a little bit further north because simply the modeling has shifted north. You also notice here heavy rainfall for Florida this weekend. If this is your weekend to go to Disney, Orlando, yeah, it's going to be a rather wet weekend, and you can see it's also going to be a wet weekend in California. And if I advance this to days 1 through 7, very heavy rainfall for California, anywhere from upwards of 3 to 5 inches of rainfall with locally higher amounts expected. And of course, in the mountains out there, we could be dealing with several feet of snow. All right, I do have to show you one other piece to the puzzle. There is a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and western Tennessee. There are a few storms there right now that could potentially contain some hail. And there's actually a discussion out from the Storm Prediction Center. They're not going to issue a watch, but it says scattered thunderstorms likely to form this afternoon, likely producing hail. A few reports may exceed severe limits. So a few severe warm storms are possible. Then we have to talk about this. From St. Louis to Cincinnati, Ohio right now, they're talking about the potential for 1 inch per hour or greater snowfall rates through the evening hours. And they are talking about something called 700 millibar frontogenesis. Basically what that is, it's lifting in the atmosphere. And you can see they have outlined it from St. Louis to the Cincinnati area, indicating that it would be a little bit further north than originally thought from yesterday. Remember when we thought yesterday Mason-Dixon line in southeast Pennsylvania, and of course across much of Pennsylvania would be where the heavier snow sets up? That has shifted a bit further to the north today. Let me show you that on her model as I advance this here. First thing you'll notice here, look well out ahead of the system. This is about 7, 8 o'clock this evening. You can see that little fingerling band that I was talking about. It does exist here, and it does sit up out ahead of it. And I think the HER model is likely underdoing that. Let's do a live look in on radar scope. You can see here. Here it is. It's just to the southwest of Pittsburgh, and it's actually growing in intensity. We're going to have to watch that. As this travels across Pennsylvania, I think that's going to be a wild card area that ends up busting higher than the expected snowfall totals. You can see here, it does extend back to just north of the Cincinnati area. Let's switch to the Cleveland radar as well because that shows it too. Look at this. You can see it's just a narrow strip, but I think that's going to develop well out ahead of the system, and anyone who gets under that is going to see some locally intense snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, and it could really add up. So there could be a jackpot area as this continues to the east. You can see it's moving eastward right now. Anywhere along this line, we'll have to watch, and anywhere within this area right here, you can see. I think that's going to be an area for a wild card amount of snow because it's going to actually sit up ahead of the main system. But of course, anywhere outside of that, as I'm going to draw again on here, anywhere from around here to here, I think this is where your heaviest snow is going to set up. And you could see anywhere from 3 to 6 inches to in the mountains. We're looking at right now generally 4 to 8 inches with maybe even isolated higher in the highest elevations of the lower highlands, and of course the mountains of West Virginia as well. So this right here is really where the jackpot's going to be. But again, this fingerling band right ahead of this, we really have to watch that. Someone could really surprise and bust much higher underneath that band. I've been watching these type systems for many years, and this does happen. All right, let's take a look at the HER model again. You can see as I advance this, that fingerling band, it does set up, but you also have a more broad area of precipitation that sets up. That's because of a little bit of warm air advection and a frontogenesis, and plus, you do have an area of low pressure that's developing, and as this goes off the coast, it will throw back some moisture from the Atlantic, which is why, overall, everywhere does see those 2 to 4 inch amounts, but within the area that I had circled there on radar scope, this is the area that's likely to see 3 to 6 with, again, that wildcard area being where that frontogenesis band goes. How much snow is being shown by the HER model? Well, this is a 10 to 1 ratio, and some places will be 10 to 1 ratio, some places will be 12 to 1. What are ratios? Ratios are the amount of snow that you can squeeze out of liquid on a model, in a storm system. So say you're getting half an inch of liquid. Well, at a 10 to 1 ratio, that would be about 5 inches of snow. At a higher ratio, that would be more than that. And you can see here, this does show a 6+ area in the mountainous region, and it does show those higher amounts in the fingerling band. But again, the HER model, as you saw, based on radar, it's underestimating that right now. Let's switch over to the latest NAM model, and you can see the NAM is pretty much in agreement as well. It does have a slightly heavier area of moisture down towards the Delmarva, but again, snow ratios are going to be lower there, while snow ratios generally from Philadelphia on northward will be higher. And once you get up into the Pocono Mountains, we're really talking about some good ratios, maybe 12 to 1 or 13 to 1 ratios. And you can see that heavier snow, it does get into New York City as well. Let's take a look at how much snow the NAM has. Again, this is a 10 to 1 ratio map, and some areas will see higher than 10 to 1 ratios. And you can see generally along I-78 to where it meets up with Interstate 81, then along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you're looking here, even at 10 to 1 ratios, which we know it will be higher in the mountains, it's still showing 6 inches of snowfall. And when I transition this over to the ratio map, yes, this is the ratio map, take a look at this. There you are. Isolated 8-inch amounts in the Laurel Highlands of Pennsylvania and West Virginia mountains. You can see 8 to 9 inches being shown on the NAM model. One other thing that I wanted to show you really quickly that I thought was rather interesting, here is the 12Z GFS. Check this out. It is showing that FGM band. It's a little bit further to the south with that, but you can see here, the GFS was relatively impressive for the fact that it is not a mesoscale model. And take a look here. I'm going to show you total snowfall. Yeah, I thought this was impressive for a model that is not mesoscale. Let's go over to the map now on ratios, and you'll see this even better, that the GFS is showing a heavier area of snowfall. And anytime a model that is not mesoscale does this, it raises a red flag, which once again is another reason why I think there will be an area along that FGM band that really overperforms with locally 6+ amounts. And you can see here, GFS Back across the lower Susquehanna Valley and along the Pennsylvania Turnpike through to east of just the Lancaster area is showing an isolated 6-inch area. Not being a mesoscale model makes you wonder, could it end up being higher than that? Alrighty, guys, that's all I wanted to tell you about today. I mainly wanted to focus on this storm today. In other parts of the country, wet weekend in Northern California, Oregon, and of course, Central Florida and Northern Florida is going to be a very wet weekend for you. If you want to follow me when I am not doing these updates, you can follow me on Twitter at Climate Data Report. And there'll be a link to that down below. It is Climate Data in capital RPT. I will see you all again next time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic Friday evening.